Good morning, students. Before beginning today's class, I would like to remind you that we have completed 2 chapters and 2 poems in English literature. I hope that you have copied down all the PDF exercises of respective chapters in your English literature classwork copy. If you have still not completed that, please do it as soon as possible. In today's class, we are going to start with our storybooks. So let's begin.
This year, in grade 5, a storybook by Ruskin Bond is included in your syllabus. This storybook contains several short animal stories. These are the contents of this storybook. We are going to start with the first story. The name of the story is Harold the Hornbill. Let us begin. Harold the Hornbill. Harold's mother, like all good hornbills, was the most careful of wives, his father the most easygoing of husbands. Harold the Hornbill is a short story by Ruskin Bond. Ruskin's grandfather is an animal lover and is in the habit of keeping a collection of animals and birds at his home. Harold was a name of a hornbill bird. This bird has a long beak and is usually found in Africa and Southeast Asia. Before beginning the story, I would like to introduce you with the characters of this story. The first character is Harold. Harold is a hornbill. Second are the parents of Harold. Third is the narrator, who is obviously narrating this story. And fourth is the grandfather of the narrator. Coming to the story, Harold's mother, like many other hornbills, was a careful and obedient wife, and his father, too, was an easygoing husband. Easygoing as in a very kind, calm and a relaxed kind of husband.
Now first I am going to read a portion and then I will explain it. In January, before the flame tree in our garden burst into scarlet blossom, Harold's father escorted his wife into a great hole high in the tree trunk, where his father and his father's father had taken their brides at the same time every year. In this weather-beaten hollow, generation upon generation of great Indian hornbills had been raised. Harold's mother, like other female hornbills before her, was enclosed within the hole by a sturdy wall of earth and sticks. Harold's father left a small slit in the center of this wall to enable him to have a chat with his wife whenever he felt like it. Walled up in her apartment, Harold's mother was a prisoner for over 2 months. During this period, an egg was laid, and from it, Harold was born. Now I am going to explain this portion to you children. Listen very carefully.
In January, when the flame tree flowered, flame tree refers to the gulmohar tree in India. It is called the flame tree because when it flowers, the flowers are of red, orange and yellow a bit, and the whole thing gives the appearance of being on fire, as if the tree is burning or as if the tree is on fire. So in January, when the flame tree flowered, Harold's father took his wife to a hole in the trunk of that tree. Taking their wives to that tree was a kind of tradition followed by all hornbills generation after generation. Harold's father had shut his wife in the hole and covered the hole from outside with mud, sticks and dung. He kept a tiny hole in it for chatting and breathing. For more than 2 months, Harold's mother was a prisoner in that small, uncomfortable, enclosed hole, and during this period, when she was in that hole, she had laid an egg, and from that egg, Harold was born. Now I am going to read the second portion. In his naked boyhood, Harold was no beauty. His most prominent feature was his flaming red bill, the color of which matched the blossoms of the flame tree now ablaze, heralding the summer. He had a stomach that could never be filled, despite the best efforts of his parents. They brought him pieces of jackfruit and berries from the banyan tree, but there never seemed to be enough. Now I am going to explain this portion. Listen very carefully. As a small young-sized bird, Harold was no beauty. He did not look like a beautiful bird. The most attractive feature of his body was his strong red-colored beak, which matched the blossomed flowers of the flamed tree, that is, the gulmohar tree. And the narrator says that when the flowers come up on this gulmohar tree or flame tree, it means that summer is approaching. Harold had a kind of unlimited hunger. His stomach could never be satisfied. His parents tried their best to satisfy his hunger. They brought him pieces of jackfruit, berries, and other such things from the nearby trees, the banyan trees and others, but unfortunately his hunger never seemed to be satisfied. Now I am going to read the next portion. As he grew bigger, the hollow became more cramped. One day his mother burst through the wall, spread out her wings, and sailed over the tree tops. Her husband seemed glad to see her out and about. He frolicked with her in the trees, expressing his delight with deep gurgles and throaty chuckles. Now I am going to explain this portion. Listen very carefully. As he grew bigger in size, space for two became short. Thus his mother broke away the whole protecting shield and came out on the branches. Harold was happy at his place in the hole, as he got food from his parents from time to time. And Harold's father was happy to see that his wife had returned from that hole, and he expressed his happiness with laughter. Now I am going to read another portion. This was when Harold decided to tumble out of his nest and into a bed of marigolds far below. Here he was at the mercy of our neighbor's cat. But before the cat could arrive, there was something large and red staring down at him. My grandfather's sunburnt face and short red beard. And in this way, the young hornbill came to live with us on our front veranda. Now I am going to explain this portion. Listen very carefully. So now Harold decided to get out of his nest and fall into a bed of marigold flowers below. One day, suddenly, the narrator's neighbor's cat was about to attack the hole to grab little Harold. But before the cat could arrive, the grandfather of the narrator, who had a sunburnt face and a short red beard, noticed the little bird in the hole. And in this way, Harold the hornbill was brought to the narrator's house by the narrator's grandfather. And the young hornbill started living with them on their front veranda. Now I am going to read another portion. Harold had a simple outlook on life. Once he had overcome his shyness, he began to welcome the approach of people. For him, grandfather and I meant the arrival of food, and he greeted us with craning neck, quivering open bill, and a loud croaking ka-ka-kee. He was quite ready to accept us as his foster parents, provided we satisfied his enormous appetite. Now I am going to explain this portion. Children, listen very carefully. Harold was not a very complicated or complex kind of bird. He was a very simple bird. And once he overcame his nervousness. Now, nervousness, why was he nervous? Because he was in a new house and he was seeing new faces other than his parents. So after he got over his nervousness and shyness, he became used to of people. Whenever the little Harold saw the narrator and the grandfather, he thought that they are bringing him food. He thought that these people are his food suppliers. And whenever he saw them, he would put his neck forward like a crane, open his long beak, and greet them with a harsh sound. And what was the sound that he made? Ka ka ki. And he made this harsh sound to greet them. Harold was ready to accept the narrator and grandfather as his parents only if they satisfied Harold's hunger. Now I am going to read another portion. I discovered that Harold would toy with anything bright or glittering, often swallowing it afterwards. On one occasion, he seized a 1 rupee coin from me, a week's pocket money in those days, and swallowed it neatly. I never saw that coin again, although I followed Harold about in the hope that my rupee would be ejected. He returned my marbles from time to time, but never coins. Now I am going to explain this portion. Listen very carefully. The narrator says that he had found that Harold would play with almost anything that looked shiny or sparkling, and then would later swallow his shiny or sparkling toy. The narrator tells about one event when Harold grabbed a 1 rupee coin from him and swallowed it. Since in those days a week's pocket money was 1 rupee, so the narrator always wished and hoped that Harold would eject his 1 rupee coin, but he ejected the marbles that he had swallowed, but he never ejected that 1 rupee coin. Now I am going to read another portion. Harold was not beautiful by Indian or international standards. He had a small body and a large head, but his nature was friendly and he remained on good terms with my grandparents and most of the members of the household during his 10 years with us. Now I am going to explain this portion. Listen very carefully. The narrator says that Harold was not a very beautiful bird that could fit in the Indian or international standards of beauty, but he had a very friendly nature and he lived happily with the other members of the narrator's family for 10 long years. Now I am going to read another portion. Although Harold was fond of eating, he was quite willing to share his food with me, sometimes pushing delicacies into my mouth with his great beak. I did not mind sharing a banana with him. He loved bananas. But I drew the line at accepting grasshoppers and beetles, which he snapped up in the garden or on the veranda. Eating was a serious business for Harold. If there was any delay at meal times, he would summon us with raucous barks and vigorous bangs of his bill on the nearest door. Now I am going to explain this portion. Listen very carefully. The narrator says that even though Harold was very fond of eating and had an enormous appetite, but still he would not hesitate in sharing his food with the narrator. Sometimes Harold would push a banana with his great beak into the narrator's mouth. Harold loved bananas. But narrator obviously would not accept anything other than food like grasshoppers and beetles and other insects that Harold ate. Harold was very serious about his eating habits. If he would not get his food on time, he would call the narrator and the grandfather by making sounds and banging his beak on the door. Now I am going to read another portion. He loved eating balls of boiled rice prepared specially for him by grandmother. I would throw him the rice balls and he would catch them in his beak, toss them into the air and let them drop into his open mouth. Later, grandfather trained him to catch a tennis ball thrown from a distance of 10 meters or so. Harold would have made a great fielder in a cricket match, especially in the slips. Now I will explain this portion to you children. Listen very carefully. The narrator tells that Harold loved eating the boiled rice balls and that was prepared specially for Harold by the narrator's grandmother. The narrator would throw him the rice balls and he would catch them in his beak, again toss into air and then let them drop in his open mouth. Later, grandfather also taught Harold to catch a tennis ball thrown at him from far away. And Harold was so much trained in catching tennis balls that the narrator says that he would have been made a very good fielder in cricket. Now I am going to read another portion. Harold gave a great deal of time and thought to his personal appearance. Once full grown, he carried a makeup kit on his person. This kit was a small gland situated above the roots of his tail feathers, which produced a rich yellow fluid. He would dip into this from time to time and then rub the color over his feathers and the back of his neck. Now I will explain this portion. Listen very carefully. Harold was also very concerned about how he looked. The narrator says that when Harold was full grown, he would carry his own makeup kit. And what was actually that makeup kit? This kit was a gland. Now what is a gland? Gland is a small part of the body that produces chemical substance for the body to use. So this kit was a gland that was situated above the root of his tail feathers, and it produced a yellow color fluid or liquid. Harold would use it to color his feathers at the back of his neck. Now I am going to read the next portion. Only once did Harold misbehave. That was when he removed a lighted cigar from the mouth of an American friend who was visiting us and proceeded to swallow it. It was a painful experience for Harold and an unnerving one for our visitor. Now I will explain this portion. Listen very carefully. The narrator says that Harold never really acted in a very bad manner, but once he misbehaved. What happened? That once the narrator's American friend had visited, and Harold removed that lighted cigar or cigarette from his friend's mouth and tried to swallow it. So it was a very painful experience for Harold and also a frightening one for the narrator's friend. Now I am going to read another portion. Harold loved the rain. I always knew when it was going to rain because Harold would start chuckling to himself about an hour before the raindrops fell. He would often be chuckling softly when my aunts left the house, and when they returned, drenched to the skin, he would be in fits of laughter. Understandably, they found this behavior annoying. Somehow, they never learned to use him as a weather forecaster. Now I will explain this portion to you. Listen very carefully. Harold loved rains. The narrator says that he always came to know when it was about to rain because an hour before the raindrops fell, Harold would start laughing quietly to himself. Harold would laugh quietly to himself when the narrator's aunt left the house, and later when they returned home, thoroughly wet by the rain, Harold would start laughing very loudly. So everyone obviously found this behavior of Harold quite annoying, but they did not learn how to use Harold as a weather forecaster. Now what is a weather forecaster? A weather forecaster is someone who predicts the future weather conditions. Now I am going to read another portion. When storm clouds gathered and gusts of wind shook the banana trees, Harold would get very excited. His chuckle would change to an eerie whistle, wee wee. He would scream. And then, as the first drops of rain hit the veranda steps and the scent of damp earth wafted through the rooms, he would start roaring like a football fan. When the wind swept the rain into the veranda, Harold would spread out his wings and dance, tumbling about like a circus clown. Now I will explain this portion to you. Listen very carefully. When it was too stormy and the winds would shook the banana trees, Harold always got too much excited. He made strange sounds and screamed like wee wee. As soon as it starts raining, Harold would roar and spread out his wings and dance like some circus joker. Now I am going to read another portion. Once the monsoon had set in, he would get used to the rains and be less demonstrative. But the first showers were always a joy and wonder to him, and we would all come out on the veranda to watch him dance. Now I am going to explain this portion. Listen very carefully. The narrator says that once the monsoon season started, Harold would get used to of rains, and then later he would get less expressive. But the first rain would always make Harold happy, and every member of the house would come out in the veranda to watch Harold dance. Now I will read the last portion of this story. I miss Harold's raucous bark and the banging of his great bill. If there is a heaven for good hornbills, I hope he is getting all the summer showers he could want and plenty of tennis balls to catch. I am going to explain this last portion. Listen very carefully. The narrator says that he misses the loud, unpleasant noises made by Harold and the knocking of his great beak against the door. The narrator says that if there is a heaven for all good hornbills, then he hopes that Harold is getting all the summer showers he could want and lots of tennis balls to catch in heaven.
It was indeed a very lovely story, and I hope that you all have enjoyed reading and understanding this story by Ruskin Bond. The PDF exercises of this story will be provided to you soon. Your homework is to read this story at home again, and we will meet in the next class. Stay home and stay safe.